What's going on, people? This is Shok, and I just want to come out and make sure this is clear before I even get into the video. Not doing this video as an attempt to try to kill people's hype for the Switch or things like that, whatever, right? Mainly just doing this video to pretty much help support an overall line point that I'm kind of making regarding one of Nintendo's biggest problems. And if you guys don't know what that is, I'll get to that later. But I've seen this topic be brought up a couple times as we're getting close to the Switch launch. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited for the Switch launch, but really, I'm not so much excited for the Switch launch as I am excited for Breath of the Wild. For me, it's not really even buying a new system for me. Really, it's buying Breath of the Wild and the superior version, and a version I could take with me anywhere and play on the go, right? That's pretty much how it is for me. It's not about the actual hardware or the system itself. And then not to mention that I'm not even paying for my Switch, right? I have that covered. I got a little hookup going on here, so that's pretty cool. So unlike some of you guys, no offense, I won't have to deal with the guilt of acknowledging that this system is rushed and still buying it anyways. But yeah, guys, this system is very incredibly rushed. Of course, we know that it didn't stick to the standard, full 5 years, sometimes 6 years, and Nintendo cycle Nintendo has always done with their systems. But we still thought it'd be a little bit more fully fledged than this. If you guys aren't aware, this system isn't going to have Netflix on it. It's not going to have an internet browser. It's not going to have, it doesn't support, it doesn't support Bluetooth headsets at the moment. There's just a lot of things this system is missing. The video recording feature is going to be added in later on. It's not launching with a virtual console. This is a very bare bones system. It's coming at launch with no multimedia capabilities whatsoever, no internet browsing, and normally that wouldn't be a big deal, but when you have all these problems as, all together, then it kind of becomes quite a sizable problem, especially considering the fact that this is a portable system and one with the touchscreen. So this is a system you'd be more inclined to use a touchscreen with, to use the internet browser on than just a normal set-top box you put in your entertainment center. You see what I'm saying? But just a very bare bones, and then that's not even the games, right? All that, I would still give the system a pass if it had a great launch lineup, but it doesn't even have that. Really, it's just Breath of the Wild. And I know I'm not saying anything, people haven't realized before, things like that. But let's actually think about it harder. Let's think about some more, guys. Imagine this launch without Breath of the Wild. There would be no point of this system launching. Really, the only point of buying this system is for Breath of the Wild. If you plan on buying a Switch, and you're not some type of reviewer, YouTuber, something like that, and you're not getting Breath of the Wild, why the hell are you getting a Switch? And I want you guys to answer that question for any of you out there who may, for some reason, not want that amazing looking game on the Switch. Answer me down below why you're buying the Switch day one without Breath of the Wild. I would really like to know some reasons. I'm not saying that something is wrong with you. If you are buying the Switch and you're not getting Zelda, I'm just saying I would love to know an explanation. I would like to see if there's actually something, some type of sensible logic behind that, because I don't see it. But kind of just rambling on here. Pretty much the main thing I want to talk about is how the Wii U kind of put Nintendo in this position, and how I'm kind of disappointed that the Switch was delayed, right? Because remember, Nintendo originally said that the Switch was slated for a holiday 2016. It was most likely going to come out in November 2016. But Kimishima said that they delayed it so that it could have a good launch lineup. He said they delayed it because the games weren't ready. And so that gave us the impression this isn't, because Nintendo fans like to give this defense, right? Oh, your expectations weren't in check. You're expecting you're expecting so much more than what was, realistic to expect, right? But Nintendo themselves, the president of Nintendo said they delayed it so the launch lineup could be great. That's what he said. And then the launch lineup gets confirmed, and it's literally just Breath of the Wild and a bunch of indie games. That's it. Oh, and ARMS. Right? Which I'm sure would be cool and fun, whatever, but that's not, a game you're going to, buy a new system for. You know what I mean? It's not one of those compelling softwares. It's not. But you see what I mean? So Nintendo planted that thought in our heads. that this was going to be a great launch lineup, because they delayed the system. So it's like, okay, we waited an extra 4 months, which most likely would have been 4 months for the system for. You see what I mean? So it's just like, dang, Nintendo just loves crapping on their fan base, man. Why did we wait an additional 4 months? Basically, I think what it comes down to is we waited an additional 4 months just so the Switch version could be ready for the system, because maybe it wouldn't have been ready in November. I don't know how it couldn't have, considering how easy the Switch is to develop for and all the members they had on the team. But I guess maybe there was some difficulty porting from the different architecture from the Wii U, which is like really old, outdated, to something more modern and whatnot with the Switch's architecture. But I don't know, if I was Nintendo, I mean, hey, you can always do temporary hire, get some temp developers, do whatever you can to make sure that game is ready. But basically, we had to endure an extra 4 months just to make sure that the Switch version was completed. But back to what I said about the Wii U kind of screwing over the Switch's launch, right? See, the problem with the Wii U and with Breath of the Wild is that if Breath of the Wild was only on the Wii U, that game, one, would not have lived up to its full potential, and two, it wouldn't have sold as much as it deserved to, because that would have only been on a install base of 14 million. A lot of that 14 million isn't even active. A small fraction of that 14 million isn't actually active Wii U players. You know what I mean? So Breath of the Wild would have been completely undeserved. It would have got completely undeserved performance on that system. And considering this is Nintendo's biggest undertaking as far as the game goes, it's probably the most expensive game, the hardest working game they've worked on. You can't afford to have your game not selling as much as it could. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they absolutely had to make a Switch version. Now, at the same time, they couldn't release the Switch version first, because that would have been a slap in the face to the Wii U owners who were promised the game a long time ago. I mean, this game was supposed to have came out 10 years ago. Exaggeration, of course. The Wii U's not even 10 years old. Duh. But you guys see what I'm saying? So, Nintendo the Wii U's failure and Breath of the Wild kind of put Nintendo in this conundrum that they completely kind of just self-inflicted themselves, because it's their fault that the Wii U didn't perform the way that it should have. And then they delayed Zelda so many times that they're like, might as well go ahead and put it on the Switch now. Like, now we have to make sure we release these versions at the same day. Because honestly, let's be honest, the Switch should have launched this holiday season. It should have. It would have been an actual complete system by then. I'm sure they're going to have Netflix by this holiday. I'm sure the recording feature is most likely going to be patched in this holiday and all that other stuff. Virtual Console should definitely be here this holiday. In addition to, Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2 would have been ready, because that's coming out in the summer, I believe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe would have been ready. So imagine a Switch, and we don't have all the features, but with the basic things it should have had, from launch, from the get-go, Internet Browser, Virtual Console, stuff like that. Imagine if it had that, and then the launch was Breath of the Wild, Splatoon 2, Mario Kart 8 port, and then Mario Odyssey, and then along with some more actual retail third-party games, because a lot of people are like, oh man, look, the Switch does have third-party support. Look at all this, and they're just listing indie games. And again, I'm not trying to come down on indie games or any developers. I enjoy my fair share of indie games. What I'm saying is, guys, let's be honest, let's be real with ourselves. We do not purchase $300+ systems to buy indie games. We don't do that. That's not what we're looking for in a system we are trying to purchase. Period. Those indie games tend to just be kind of cherries on top. In addition to the retail games. That's the meat, right? That's the ice cream. And the indie games are kind of like the cherries and the sprinkles and all that good stuff, right? But don't give me that we have third-party support BS. Look at this indie game, and then even when it's not an indie game, you'll say it's something from Square Enix, but it's a $10 Square Enix project, right? It's something way cheaper. It's not one of their bigger titles or IPs. You see what I'm saying? So the third-party support is very weak right now. But I'm sure that there will be a lot more actual retail, bigger projects coming out for the Switch, towards the end this year. So the launch would have been so much better. A Mario, Zelda, Splatoon 2, right? The Xenoblade 2 is slated for 2017. I doubt that it'll launch this year, but who knows? They could surprise us. Monolith did hire a lot more people, so they could be cranking the game out games out faster than they normally did. Who knows? But that's a possibility that could have been a launch title. Imagine all those games, and then the extra third-party titles, and then all the indie games, and then with the actual core features that a system should be launching with. That would have been an incredible launch. But the Wii U failed so terribly, it wasn't able to properly support its own Zelda game. So they had to port it over to the Switch, and then they had to launch them at the first time, because the Wii U version launched first. Then that would have cut down the sales that the Switch version would have sold, and then that would have cut into the actual Switch retail unit sold, because if people bought Breath of the Wild on the Wii U first, I'm sorry, I'm getting caught over my words. If Breath of the Wild sold on the Wii U first, if it was released on the Wii U first, a lot of people wouldn't be able to wait. They wouldn't be able to wait months for that. They would just buy the Wii U version, and then, they really wouldn't have a reason to buy the Switch version. So they had to launch them at the same time. And since they had to launch them at the same time, since the Wii U owners have been waiting for so long already, since the game is pretty much complete and they've been sitting on it, they don't want to sit on it all the way till November to where they could have potentially launched the Switch here this year, 2017. You see what I mean? So it's just really a hard, difficult situation. And this isn't the focus of the video or whatever, but I also want to add this. It's just incredible to me how it ties in with the whole, DLC thing and Season Pass they're doing with Zelda, right? It's just another example how Nintendo fans always say crap is okay when Nintendo does it, right? People complain all the time. I'm getting a call right now. People complain all the time about, the PS4's launch and the Xbox One launch. Nintendo fans shout on those launches all the time, talk about how bare bones they were. Guys, those launches were better than the Switch's launch. By far, hands down. Now, you guys could make it a quality versus quantity thing. Yeah, you could say Breath of the Wild is better than all the launch games for those two systems, which I would agree with you guys. I'm not going to argue with you guys against that. But I'm just saying, in terms of completeness and quantity, those launches were definitely way better than the Switch's launch. So, I just don't understand how some of you guys could watch these Nintendo guys here in this community when they contradict themselves so blatantly, right? So clearly, so absent-mindedly. How are you going to crap on the PS4 and Xbox One's launch, but yeah, you are so excited for the Switch's launch. You're buying it day one. You're doing videos talking about the Switch is going to change everything. It's going to be revolutionary. F the haters. They wish their system could do what the Switch does. And this is a more bare bones launch than the Wii U. Which is another important point of this video. Kind of scares me a little bit because Nintendo said time and time again, Iwata and Kimishima said time and time again, we've learned from the Wii U launch. We've learned from the Wii U launch. We've learned from the Wii's mistakes. But they're launching with something that's more bare bones than even the Wii U's launch. So did you? We've still yet to see if Nintendo has gained any type of self-awareness. In the marketing department, yes, I think that's pretty clear. Their marketing is great. It's freaking amazing. But as far as the surrounding decisions coming to the actual systems and the hardware and the software and the firmware and stuff like that, yet to be seen. And just another thing that's kind of insulting, that the fact that the Switch is missing all these features is, guys, the Wii U only got 2 actual major system updates that added features, and then it wasn't even that many features, and the features weren't even that big. Only got 2. And if I remember correctly, I think when were those updates? Those were in 2014 or 2013. I think it was like one in spring 2014, and then there's one like the summer or fall of 2014. I think is when those updates happened, right? And then the Wii U just stopped getting any type of updates whatsoever. Like, it got some stability ones, and like that was it. But as far as adding features and making new things the Wii U could do, that never happened past those 2 major updates. So Nintendo has had from 2014 for all their firmware developers to start making things for the Switch, and for some reason, these things aren't ready. And that ties to the main point that I mentioned in the beginning of this video, if you guys didn't know what I was talking about. One of their biggest problems is us. It's the fan base. We don't hold them accountable enough. We don't call this stuff out. And we shouldn't be okay with this. There is no reason, as skimpy and bare bones as the Wii U's OS was, and the lack of updates it received, why in the world do we not have these things ready when those developers who handle the firmware, who handle the virtual console, they've been doing nothing since 2014? But yet this stuff is not ready on the Switch. I'm excited for the Switch as a system itself. I'm excited that to finally have a system where I can play games anywhere at any time. That is something I've always wanted. And I am excited for Breath of the Wild, which is looking like and sounding like, based on what the reviewers are saying, is going to be the best Zelda game to date. But good games and good hardware can be held back by bad decisions, by lack of speed, lack of competence. So a little wary here, a little scary that Nintendo doesn't have these things together. Do they realize they're taking a long time? Do they acknowledge that these things are coming slowly? Are they trying to hurry up and kick this into overdrive, right? I don't know. We'll see. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what y'all think down below, and I'll see y'all later.